All right, hello everybody, I'm sharkhat87. We're gonna be playing some Still Lakes the Deep, any percent. We're gonna go ahead and just jump straight into the run and do all our introductions and everything once we get started. So time is gonna start once we're done skipping this cutscene. So I'm gonna give a countdown in a second here. So time is gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so I'm sharkhat87, like I said. I got a great couch behind me to help me explain this game if y'all want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Captain Ezekiel.
Nerd Squared.
And Meta.
All right, great. So we're jumping right into it. So the first level is pretty straightforward here, the canteen. We just got to go talk to our friend Roy here, and that'll let us get back outside, very short level. And then we're going to jump straight into pretty much the first out of bounds of the run. You're going to see me jumping a lot as well. Generally, jumping is faster, and we can also bunny hop or bee hop. It's not as precise as some other games, not like frame perfect or anything like Outlast 1, for example, but it does help you preserve your speed generally, throughout the run here. So yeah, already out of the canteen and out onto the deck. So a lot of the skips in this game are usually just involving jumping on things that you're not supposed to and getting out of bounds, jumping on invisible walls and stuff like that. So right off the bat, we're gonna do that here. We're gonna jump onto this here, onto this railing, and then off onto some invisible walls over here. So this is just a little bit of a shortcut to get across the rig. We're trying to meet up with our boss so he can fire us, basically. Okay, almost fell there, but we made it. And nice. Okay, made it back in bounds. Awesome.
Nice.
All right, sweet. So now we get the screwdriver here, so we can use that to fix some things. We're an electrician. It's part of the lore here. But yeah, basically we're in trouble for some stuff we did back on the back on land, and so the police are coming to get us to take us back. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, we are going up a little lift here, so we actually have time for a couple donations.
Fantastic, because they are coming in. And I did also want to shout out, we just crossed over $547,000. Now we're under $3,000 away towards that $550,000 towards Doctors Without Borders. Thank you, everyone. And getting us to that point, we have $25 from Anonymous that says, I love Horror Block, and $50 from Robert says, let's go for that 1 million. Hype.
Hype. All right, probably got time for one or two more.
Great. We have $25 from Vaith Ames that says, Tech Crew Hype. And thank you. We also have $200 from Echo Parallax. No comment, but thank you so much for that generous donation towards Doctors Without Borders.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So yeah, we just got fired.
Nice.
Not a great start to the day. It's also Christmas, by the way. So we're heading up here to get sent back to land, except the helicopter's about to, well, the rig is about to not be having a good time. Basically, they're out here, drilling for oil and stuff. And they drill up some monsters instead. So a really quick way to kind of explain it, I guess, is the most similar thing I can think of is if you've seen the movie The Thing, basically there's this monster that kind of transforms the crew into other monsters. So we're going to see that a little bit later. First up, any of you guys want to explain underrig skip coming up here?
Yeah, so the underrig skip is essentially a series of jumping on these beams and these pallets here, right? So Shark's gonna run and take a jump to hit an invisible platform. He's gonna another one to clip under the rig. And now he's gonna bee hop across all these beams to get to the exit of the level, which is essentially right here. He made that look incredibly easy. It's not. That was,
and that's the shortest level in the game.
Very insane, yeah.
You're already out. That's
less than a half minute.
Awesome. Okay, so coming up here, we have another pretty hard trick. So if you get stuck in like a corner where two different walls meet, sometimes the game will consider you to be grounded for a brief period of time. So by mashing scroll jump here, we can actually get a double jump on this corner to get out of bounds, and then try to land on some invisible walls and hopefully make it across this gap without falling. And there we go, nice.
Nice.
All right, so now we're going to skip this cutscene and restart. If we reload the checkpoint here, it's actually going to despawn some of the water in the next room, and so that means we can hop through here without having to walk slowly, so it just saves a little bit of time there. All right, and we also have our flashlight now, so we can actually see here. We're going to be going through, and you're going to see a lot of these vents. We're going to use the screwdriver for these to bust these open, and while we're going through here, we got time for another donation or two.
Great. I've got $50 from Rhiannon that says, my husband worked on this game and I love him.
Nice.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
Cool.
Your husband did an amazing job.
We've also got $5 from Anonymous7 that says, let's get it, Shark Hat. Greetings from Germany.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so now that we're through that vent, we're going to meet up with one of their characters here. As far as the story goes, basically everyone's just trying to figure out what's going on at the moment. In the level that we just skipped before this, you actually do see the drill where they hit, the stuff coming out of the ocean there. Obviously, we skipped that, but yeah, at this point, we're kind of just trying to figure out what's going on, trying to get through engineering here.
Yeah, and the funny part about that drill issue is that he plays it off as a drill issue when it's really not.
It's a minor case of a very major drill issue.
Yeah, I do like that because the boss Rennick, he kind of says it like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll be back to work in no time." But I don't think that's gonna happen. So oh yeah, we gotta turn these valves here to get rid of the steam. You can almost do one of those double jump glitches to get up to this last valve, but you can't quite do it. The geometry's kind of awkward, so it kind of like blocks you. There's like a lip on the ledge here that prevents you from doing that. But otherwise, we're just gonna progress through here, get this ladder down. I'm gonna do a really small optimization here. You can stand on this little bench and get on the ladder like just a little bit faster here. So you might wonder, like, we can jump. And you can actually jump off of ladders and things while you're holding them. So you'd wonder why you might just be able to jump up these whole things, because we're also going to do that here. So a little jump to grab this. Nice. But anytime you jump and try to grab a climbable thing like monkey bars or a ladder midair, you get this really long animation where he kind of grabs it. So that character who's talking is Gibbo. We're doing Gibbo skip right now. We're just going to jump all the way across this room. So that skips like a whole bunch of...
Yeah, we didn't even see him.
crawling and crouching and stuff like that. Yeah, we might see him for a second or two here. I'm also going to do a really small thing where you're supposed to climb down this ladder into a cutscene trigger, but if you just crouch over the edge here, you can just fall straight into it like this.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of body
goes.
horror like The Thing, this game is phenomenal. The design is incredible.
Yeah, I love the enemy designs in this game. They're awesome.
And the voice acting in this game is really good too, because, fun fact, it takes place in the North Sea near Scotland. They got actual Scottish voice actors to voice act in the game, and even in the dialogue, there's like little bits of dialect sprinkled in throughout.
So it's authentic.
Very.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's great. They did a fantastic job with that. All right, we're gonna get a little bit of funny visual glitch here. Sometimes when you hard land like this on certain surfaces, your camera will do that again every time you hit the ground.
Looks so goofy.
I like to think that that's just part of Kaz just being our friendly drama king. He's very dramatic when it comes to falling more than 2 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You probably heard it a little bit, but yeah, there's some voice lines that can play if you jump over, like a large distance. But sometimes you're not actually falling that far. You jump, like 2 feet, and he kind of yells, which is funny. So we're coming up here on the first heater of the run. We jumped in a bunch of water. Now we're cold. So if you try to open the door here, he says something like, I got to warm up. I can't keep going. So there's 2 others. We have to do this one. You can skip it, actually, but the level will soft lock if you do that. The other 2, we'll get back to that later, but the other 2 you actually can skip using some sort of creative positioning and stuff like that. But we're just going to mash to get out of here, and then we can continue. A lot of these indoor levels, because as you've seen in some of the outdoor levels, like under rig skip that we did, if it looks like you can stand on stuff, you usually can. So if you can get out of bounds, you can kind of just go wherever you want. A lot of these indoor levels is going to be a bit more, just bee hopping, running through. But we will see some out of bounds at some of these levels as well. But But yeah, right now we're trying to meet up with our friend Roy, who we briefly saw at the very beginning of the game. He's locked up in the kitchen here. So again, mostly just trying to figure out what's going on and meet up with everybody else. As we're running through here, probably got time for one more donation as well.
Great, I've got $100 from Rick, which says, my first GDQ was 9 years ago with a person who I was just getting to know. That person is now my wife, and I get to watch the game that I worked on. Good luck, Sharkhat, and all the runners at the event.
That's amazing.
Awesome,
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
All the dev donations.
All right, we're gonna get a little preview of our next enemy here. We won't quite have to run away from him just yet, but we will get to see him. Yeah, so there's a lot of great characters in this game, and some of them do turn into monsters, like this guy coming up here. If you do play the game, I recommend in the beginning going and talking to everybody. Obviously, we're not doing that because it's slower. Oh yeah, we have lifeboats coming up. I'm gonna throw that to you guys. If you want to explain that.
Yeah, so so lifeboat skip, it was a pretty tricky one. Even when it first was found, it was kind of difficult to really understand what you can and can't jump on. So the first part of this is a jump across this beam to kind of skip the starting of that animation. He's gonna crawl up on this, turn around and jump to the pipes here, and he's gonna get on again more structure of the building. He's gonna kind of jump down halfway point so he doesn't take any hard falls where if you fall way too far, he breaks his leg. And you walk really slow. So we're gonna inch out here, jump on this other pipe, and now a really tricky jump and turn
Nice.
Hey, beautifully done.
That
Yeah.
jump is harder than it looks.
It's very deceptive. There's lots of invisible walls that poke out, and you can bonk on stuff.
Very easy to bonk
Nice.
on
Okay.
anything. Yeah, great job. First try on that is absolutely crazy.
Thank you. Oh yeah, we have to get rid of this fire here. There's no way to get through this. They actually, if I remember correctly, they actually put walls up here too. So even if you try to just like damage boost through it, it doesn't let you. But yeah, that skips a bunch of the level. We're supposed to repair, or at least attempt to get in the lifeboats. Skips a phone call with Rennick again, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much the level. And then we're gonna head back inside here. So yeah, you actually can get down, or at least land in the spot that I landed earlier. But if you can't fall very far without taking lethal fall damage. So that's why we have to take that other route there, because the other place you can jump from is just like a little bit too high up. All right, now we're heading back into utilities. So we're trying to meet up with Roy again, the guy we saw in the cafeteria just a little bit ago. And we get one of our first instances where we can actually die to a monster. So I'll explain briefly. We selected standard difficulty at the beginning of the run. I'm actually gonna switch about halfway. It's a pretty small difference. A lot of runners just play on story the whole time. The main difference is on story, most enemies will not aggro you, so if you run into them, you will still die. But they don't really chase you, at least in sort of the stealth sections. There's some scripted chases, and those are the same. But there's a few places where, one particular level in a bit, where if you're on story, you have to throw some props to get the enemy to move out of the way, whereas on standard, they just chase you, and since they're usually in their way, or they're in your way, I prefer to play on standard, at least for the first half, but it's a pretty small difference. We're not going to see this version of a skip later, but one of my favorite differences is in one level, there is an invisible wall that only appears on one of the difficulties, and I don't know why.
It's the easier difficulty too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can change the difficulty mid-run, and the wall will spawn in, and I don't know why. It's very funny. Nice. Okay.
Oh yeah. Speaking. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, we didn't die. That's all I was gonna say.
Oh. Heck yeah, dude. Let's go.
That's not dying.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Damagevol, who made the trainer for this game, which allows you to view invisible walls and among other things like save position, load position. And I feel like a lot of discoveries would not have been made without that trainer. So huge shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout outs to Demented Salad as well for helping with the timer, of course, as well. And other tools and things have been very helpful. It makes glitch hunting a lot easier. All right, so we're on deck 2 now. or rather the second time we've been to the deck. Oh, okay, wait, okay, I gotta restart. So I think this is a new thing. There's a thing that randomly happens here where you just cannot jump when you enter this level, but reloading usually fixes it, so we should be fine now. I don't know why. All right, let's see. I think we should be good now. Yep, we're good. Okay, now we can jump. Nice. All right. Okay, so we want to pretty much immediately go out of bounds here. So we're gonna jump on these boxes and land on an invisible platform here. And then I'm gonna try to line up a jump to land right on this thin little metal thing here. Okay, so we landed here. Since we fell a decent distance, we call it our legs breaking, but basically it just means that you can't sprint for a little bit. So we gotta wait for our sprint speed to come back, and then we can just do some more platforming over here. And one more jump. Nice, all right.
There we go.
Nice. That was great.
That jump is deceptively hard because, as you saw, he was trying to land on that fence, and it's a very thin line that you have to land on.
Yeah. Yeah, one really important thing about this run is it has coyote time for the jumps, which if you haven't heard of that before, it basically just means that there's a window of time when you're not standing on ground anymore, where the game considers you to still be grounded and you can still jump. So especially if you look down in a lot of places, it's really obvious. You can jump way later than you might think, and a lot of these jumps, it's pretty crucial you jump as late as possible, or you're not going to be able to make it. But we're going up this lift again, so we have time for. Whoa! What did I die to there? What? wait! I've never seen that before. Wait, did that save time?
Yo, what? That's a new one.
That actually saved time. That's crazy. Yeah, it warps me to the top.
Brother.
All right.
Okay, something to share with the Discord in the morning. All right.
That's crazy. Okay, well, anyway, we're also now entering some cutscenes. So, as I was saying, we have time for some donations.
Great. I'm glad you learned new tech, and we have donations. So we've got $50 from Yiddle that says, "My bones are their money." And we've also got $50 from Apple that says, "Still Wakes the Deep was one of my favorite games I played last year. It made me cry several times. We never stood a chance. Can't wait to see you torn apart so fast."
That's amazing. Thank you. All right, so we tried to get back in the helicopter. It did not go well. Rennick, our boss, was trying to leave without us. Great guy. So we're actually going to see him. He's one of my favorite monster designs in this game. I guess spoilers, he's now a monster, but we'll be seeing that very shortly. Awesome. All right, yeah, that deck 2 is very smooth. Yeah, I was gonna say when you I don't know if it's something with the skip that we did, but sometimes the enemy mirror over there can kind of be in a weird spot. So somehow he moved into us, but he's usually so far away. So I have no idea how that happened. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again.
And you were in the lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Like halfway up. Like what?
I don't know.
He's just that good.
He's him.
Sharkhat is that guy.
That's the power of the shark.
All right, so heading into admin here. We are going to see Rennick very soon. Like I said, a lot of these indoor levels, fairly straightforward. We're just trying to get B-hop chains when we can. There he is. All right, so we got a little chase scene here. Again, with B-hop movement, fairly easy not to die here, but we do still want to move as quick as we can here. Little small thing here. There are certain crawl spaces the game will force you to enter, but if you move sideways here, you actually can continue crouching instead, and your crouch movement's a little faster. So we gotta just pull this thing out of the way here so we don't die. That should be far enough. Nice. Okay. This is a pretty small thing here, but we're gonna run up here and hit a trigger to make Rennick appear over there, and we have to double back, and we're gonna fall. And normally if we sprint off, our legs break for a pretty long time, but if you walk off instead, they don't last, it doesn't last for quite as long, so we can sprint right about now. I mentioned the difficulty earlier. One really small thing here is on standard, Rennick gets out of the way faster. Sometimes on story, you have to wait there for like a second. So, like I said, very small differences overall. It doesn't really matter that much. We're about to see some absolute massive plot armor for our main character here on opening this door. Like, tell me he makes this. I don't think he actually makes this.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, there's no way.
I mean, he didn't even like move and all. I mean, there's no way.
All right, so very funny thing here. There's different. There can be multiple interact volumes on a single door, just meaning like, you know, if you stand in it, it lets you interact. And normally when you turn around to try to open this door, he says like, I'm not going back in there. But it turns out you can hit the other interact volume by crouching, and so we are in fact going back in. Except now we're out of bounds because we're on a different map. So we're gonna take an out of bounds path here to save a little bit of time going through this level. It is really lucky actually that there's enough collision you can actually stand on, because it would have been very easy for us to, it would have been impossible to get through this area here. And then I'm just trying to land on a few more things just to minimize the leg breaks that we get. I gotta wait a second or two here, and then we can jump down here. And then we're gonna do one more little, like kind of an attempt a leg break skip in a second here. Once we drop down here, if we crouch off both these ledges, for whatever reason, we can get sprint back pretty quick. All right, and that is a helicopter skip. We didn't actually see the helicopter, but we're back in bounds
Because it's
now.
helicopter skip.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Good job.
All right, got time for a quick donation here, I think.
Great, we've got $10 from Chris that says, hey, Shark, Zeke, Nerd, and Meta. Chris here from the Still Wakes the Deep community.
Hey.
Just wanted to say massive good luck for the run. I'm so happy that this got in. Good luck for the pontoon skip.
Thank you. Big shout outs
yeah.
to Chris, big community member for this game. Found a lot of cool skips. Oh, we're gonna do that crouch trick one more time here. So you're supposed to turn the gas off here, but similar thing. The interact volume that lets you actually move this is already there, and if you crouch, you can just barely snag it there, and then we can just move that out of the way.
I like how he's still coughing while he was dragging the cart.
All right, now we're entering Engineering 2. So this is the main level where the difficulty actually matters. So again, there's a few places where the main enemy can kind of just be in your way. So I opt to play on standard because the noise you make running around kind of lures him away. Now, we do have to move pretty specifically in a few places, otherwise he will also kill us. Ask me how I know that. But yeah, we're gonna head in here. We're trying to reset the power. Doesn't quite work, so of course we gotta go do a few other things for that to actually work. Meeting up with this other character that we met earlier. And then just gonna be going through some ladders and stuff here. Actually, while we're doing that, I think we have time for another couple donations.
Great, I've got $200 from Preach, and it says, I still remember the day I played Still Wakes the Deep and met Roy for the first time. Seeing his dedication, the fine art of serving delicious beans to his hard-working crew still warms my heart. Without him, the disaster would have been so much worse. He may be gone, but Roy's beans will never be forgotten. Long live Roy.
Love the beans.
Thank you so much for that $200 donation, Preach. That was very generous. Thank you.
All right, cool little shortcut we can take in this room here. So we can climb up on top of this and then also jump on some collision. We can b-hop off an invisible wall right there and then
Very nice.
get back in bounds right here.
Nice.
There is a skip you can do in this room to skip these rafters, but as far as I know, it's very random. If you remember the double jump glitch from before, it's basically where you have multiple pieces of geometry meeting, and if you get stuck in between them, sometimes you can get grounded for a really short amount of time. But you need to get like 3 of those jumps in midair, so 4 jumps total, and it seems pretty random if it decides to give you a jump, even just once. So yeah, the odds of getting it 3 times in a row is pretty low. So no one's really gotten it in a run before, but just thought I would mention that. Oh yeah, so we're coming up to our next monster here, Adair. Again, this is one of the main places that if we were to die to an enemy, it's probably going to be this room. But we'll see what happens here. So once this cutscene's over, I'm actually going to jump down the stairs, and the sound of me landing is going to hopefully draw him over here. And then we should be able to just b-hop our way. Oh, that's not where you're supposed to be. Okay. All right, that's fine. Luckily for us, the enemies will stop aggroing when we're on ladders, so that should reset him as long as he doesn't wander into me. Okay, we're not dead. Nice. All right.
Nice.
I don't know why he was in that particular spot, but we're good. All right, we just got to do this in a particular order. Reset the breakers. All right, got another cutscene or two here. If you got another quick donation, this would be a good time.
Sure, I do have a quick donation. $20 from Manda and Kimmy that says, hey, dude, we're watching from A2.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right, just going to open this vent here. All right, now we can finally go actually restart the power. Do a little jump here. There is actually a way to avoid taking any fall damage there, but it ends up being faster just to jump farther there to get over here. Okay, so this is the other part where we could die. If we were gonna die, it'd probably be right here. As long as our movement is good, we should be fine. It's mostly just the fact that we kind of have to cross through where he is. Once we get ahead of him, he's pretty slow, at least compared to, you know, us jumping. So let's see how this goes.
Oh, that sound design is
Yeah.
that's spooky.
It's very good, yeah. Okay, we're good, yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
All right, only got one more dodge in this level, and then we should be fine. And then, yeah, then we'll be switching to story. I love when you can hear them like howling in the distance.
Yeah.
It's pretty creepy.
Also, you can hear like the pulsing of the
Yeah.
rig
That
itself.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know how that evolves throughout the game, but that wasn't there earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that's usually there either, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but. All right, so he shows back up. We're gonna, I guess this is technically us dodging him. This is pretty easy though, this one. Once we break this lock, we pretty much just have to run forward, and he shouldn't be able to catch up to us. Then again, I did die in a place I've never died before earlier, so
True.
maybe I shouldn't say anything.
You're tempting fate a little bit
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, this is also a really small detail, but you can actually hold sprint to move faster in certain animations and things, like
Yeah.
those shimmies. And it took us a little bit to figure that out. And I also didn't learn, you have to repress it like every time you enter one of those animations. And that saved me like a minute, maybe not that much, I don't know. But I saved like an insane amount of time. Okay, he got me, all right. Okay, there goes that sound, all right. All right. All right, we got it that time. Okay.
Hey, nice.
Okay, switching to story here. So it doesn't matter that much. The main thing is honestly just in the next level, there's an extra quick time event that only happens in standard. So not a huge deal. But yeah, surely that is the last we'll see of this guy. I like to try to hit him with
Throw a can at him.
I like to try to hit him with the cup. Yeah. All right, so this is pretty much the end of, this is probably the longest level in the game, I would say. We're just about at the end of it. Once we skip this phone call, we're gonna just head downstairs, and then we got some other pretty cool tricks coming up in the pontoons here. So first thing is, well, we're actually entering an area called Leg A, and we wanna get to the bottom as fast as possible. And it turns out there's some checkpoints on the way down that we can kind of just fall into. So as long as we hit those before we die, then we'll respawn down there. So pretty much immediately, we're just gonna run off and die in the first 5 seconds of this level.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
Kaz is going to be super chill about it.
He'll be fine. He'll be okay. I think. Yeah, there we go. He's fine.
Yeah, just ignore all the screaming.
Yeah, so obviously as you can see, you take lethal fall damage, but for some reason, especially on some invisible walls, you actually do not take fall damage. So it's a bit hard to see, but if we can land on that railing right there, that does no fall damage. And then same for another wall we're gonna try to drop down onto. It is a bit dark though, so it's kind of hard to see. Okay, there we go. That's the first one.
Yeah, and it's so
Nice.
dark there because the lighting got changed in a recent patch. So
Yeah, we still got it though. We're good. Very nice. Yeah, it's very particular. I don't know what the logic is exactly, but even inbounds, like in the next room we're about to be in, there's a patch of ground where no fall damage. If you land right next to it, death. I don't know why. There's no in between. Okay, so we're coming up to pontoon skip. So this is not in the current record, but I did want to learn it for this run because it's very cool and uses some tech that you only get to see in this level. The jump we're going to be doing is probably the hardest jump in the game, though, at least that we're going for. So it might take me a few tries. We'll see.
I have full faith in you, man.
First try every time. We got
Absolutely.
it. Yep.
yes.
All right, so this is that fall damage thing I was talking about here. So ideally, we jump down here and we don't die. Nice. Okay, we're good. Do some B-hops through the water here. Okay, so we want to get out of bounds over that gate over there. And if you jump with a really precise timing at the right angle and your position is good, you can barely make it on top of the invisible wall, and that'll let us get out of bounds.
Yeah, and he's gonna flash his flashlight here, position the cursor to get it right. Oh,
Okay.
Close?
Yep. Yeah, it's close. But yeah, this is very worth it because it skips a pretty long auto-scroller as well, where you got to wait for a lot of water to rise up the top of a room. Okay, if I can get back up there. All right, nice. Nice.
there we go.
Nice. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna do something called an upwarp. So we're gonna fall into this plane of water from out of bounds, and if you exit a plane of water from the bottom and your Z coordinate is below 0, for some reason you teleport upwards. So we just teleported. I promise I don't have my cheats installed. That is something you can do in game. It just teleports you up. Now we're gonna try to land on some more collision that does not kill you again for some reason. So we're gonna try to land right there. Nice. Land on a particular spot here to also not die. And then we're gonna jump into this water as it loads in. Okay, we got one more part of this trick to do, and then we're pretty much set. So we're gonna do one more upwarp to actually skip the auto-scroller part. So we're gonna jump across this pipe here. So yeah, the room coming up, normally, like I said, the water rises really slowly, and you gotta swim all the way to the top as it goes. But if we get into a particular spot here, we should be able to upwarp right back inbounds all the way at the top and skip the whole thing. So we're gonna try to line up right here and then go down right when we get up to this collision here, and nice, there we go,
There we go.
nice.
Great job.
Yeah,
I'm actually curious. So you did pontoons on the second try. We got that lift skip out of nowhere from earlier.
Yeah.
Everything else has been feeling pretty smooth. How are you feeling about the pace of this run right now?
this feels pretty solid, yeah. I'm trying to remember everything that happened. I feel like it's probably not PV pace or anything, but I'm not complaining. No, it's been going really well so far, I think. All right, so for the rest of pontoons, we're just gonna be swimming for a little bit, doing some platforming. And speaking of which, actually, this would be a good time for another couple donations too.
Great. I've got $5 from Anarchy, which says 3 years ago I turned into SGDQ 2022 and watched Sharkhat demolish Outlast in the middle of the night. Here I am now still watching Sharkhat kill another run in the middle of the night. It's been so awesome to watch this run develop, and you are a great runner and person.
Thank you, Anarchy. That's awesome. That actually was my first GDQ run ever as well.
You got time for one more short one?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Great. We've got $5 from Superboot07. It just says, loving the run so far. My all-nighter has been thoroughly worth it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Super. All right, so yeah, there's a little quick time event here. If we were on standard, we get another one going up these stairs. We actually, I don't know if it was first discovered a bit ago, but I learned recently that first quick time event you actually can skip, but you have to move at like a really specific time, like pretty much as soon as possible. As long as you get far enough away, he won't grab you. We skipped that balance beam as well. I don't know if I mentioned how those work, but when you try to enter one of those balance beams, if you're holding forward, it'll force you into the animation of going on it. But as long as you're just not holding forward, you can move past it. So that's why we jump backwards there. And then...
yeah, it's similar in principle to the beam jump he did in Lifeboats.
yeah, exactly.
I also just want to give appreciation to the devs for like putting some thought into the differences of difficulty. It's not just like, oh, you get hit twice instead of once and die. You know, like there's actual changes made.
Yeah, well, like the enemy behavior, yeah. Oh yeah, this saves probably like a second. It's not a big deal, but if you stand close enough to the edge, we can actually slip into this lift a little bit and
Right
get
in
in a little bit before the gate opens. All right. And then we're just gonna ride this lift all the way to the top. It's probably my favorite instance of music in the game as well. I always like to look up here. It's a very, very cool part of the game.
It's
Really beautiful too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music is composed by Jason Graves, who you might recognize from Until Dawn and Dead Space.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did know that actually. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the longest elevator in the game. So if we got some more donations, this is a great time to get some in.
Those are words that I love to hear. So let's do $25 from Baked Squid that says, part of the curse blessing of normally working an overnight schedule, being able to be awake for the horror block even while on vacation. Question, what could possibly give the developers of a horror game nightmares? Answer, speedrunners.
True, though.
Very true.
Here we've also got $50 from Kazoo that says, help, I've fallen in a plane of water and can't teleport up.
I don't know, sounds like a skill shoe to me.
That's awesome. Thank you. So I mentioned pretty early on in the run, we had these heaters that we could skip. So this one, if you couldn't tell already, crouching is pretty good in this game. You're supposed to, that was the skip. We're supposed to use the heater before we can use that door, but again, there's a second interact volume on it, and you can just touch it by crouching there.
Oh yeah, with the same tool, the trainer that we use to view the invisible walls, you can view the trigger volumes and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then this is a trick called Sue's Skip. So Sue's is the main character's wife, and there's a hallucination here where you hear her voice and you walk really slow here. But we can jump on a pretty thin set of invisible walls there and make it over, skip the stairs as well. And now coming up, we have a trick called a Dare Skip. So this is the level that has that invisible wall that spawns in depending on the difficulty. And my favorite fun fact about this level is there actually was a soft lock that is now fixed that was present on launch here. And if I remember correctly, I believe the devs were actually sharing that initial method, because it's pretty easy to just like drop down and get to the lower level, but that was like the initial fix before the patch came in, so that was pretty funny.
So the devs were encouraging people to do the skip.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but there's been a bunch of iterations. Zeke, I know you learned the pipe jump over there, right? That one's my absolute favorite.
Yeah, that one was painful.
Yeah.
that was hard to adapt to, but it was a crazy skip when it was found, because it was almost felt like kind of like a little bit like the Holy Grail type of the skips we were looking in this run, because this section was so slow. But as you can see, Sharkhat doesn't care how hard it is.
Nice, we made it back.
Those
Okay.
Nice.
are so precise. That's so important. Any small misstep there means he dies.
Yeah.
Or he gets stuck out of bounds. We're not quite sure which is worse, honestly. And no, he handled it great. Now he's doing some more jumping off. Nice to grab that ladder before hitting the ground.
There you go, nice. Yeah, so we have to get the scene transition there. We got to hit that checkpoint. So that's what we got to do all that, because you can actually get down here a bit earlier, but the door just won't open here. Yeah, that was valve skip as well. Again, a pretty small thing, but you're supposed to turn the valve, skip a cutscene, and then go down. But you can just do a little bit of platforming there and grab the ladder. You will die of fall damage if you don't do that there. But yeah, that was pretty smooth. Little bit of sharkhat87 lore with that skip though. So I had an issue at one point where my W key was getting really loose and it was just falling off of my keyboard. Like I would lift my finger off and it would like pop off my keyboard. When I was doing that skip specifically, and my key would just like fly across the my room. And so I now on my keyboard that I'm using right now, I replaced my W key with my left bracket because I was thinking, what's a key I never press and it's not going to be loose, and it's that one. So yeah, there's your Sharkhat
Sharkhat
keyboard lore. Yeah. Oh yeah, we just lit the flare stack. We're running back now. There's like a slight chance this guy can kill you. Okay, he didn't. Nice. He can just kind of move in your way there. But we're all good. Pretty much the end of the level. We just got to b-hop our way to the end here. Probably could squeeze in a quick donation here while we do that.
Great, I've got $100 from an anonymous donor that says, amazing work from everyone so far on this event. Good luck to all of the runners.
All right, thank you. Okay, so after we skip this cutscene, we're gonna do a checkpoint restart here, because normally you have to walk really slowly here, but on reloading it, you just get your full sprint back. Now, I'm gonna attempt an out of bounds here. I'm gonna preface that by saying it's not really faster. It's maybe like a second faster if you do it really well. So it's not super worth it if you're trying to get a consistent run going, but it looks cool. So
That's what matters.
We're gonna give it a shot. So we're gonna try to do a backwards jump here to try to land on this shimmy, like that, and then try to land on this slope, and then we can crouch under here to get out of bounds. So if you saw underrig 1 skip at the beginning of the game, it's kind of similar. All this stuff is solid, and we're gonna try just not to fall and die here. And then if we land on this stuff here, it'll damage us and skip the landing animation. Nice. Okay, don't die. Nice. Okay, we're good.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was a little scary because if you hit that stuff on the ground 3 times, it doesn't have damage to kill you. So that was almost bad, but we're good. We're gonna crouch under a trigger here that causes you to slow down. And then honestly, this trick is probably like, it's not actually harder, but there was a period of time where we made it. Okay, that's monkey bar skip. Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
It's just deceptively hard. There was a really long period of time where every world record got that second try. Like everybody choked it. And it only saves 10 seconds. It's not even, like, it literally just skips going across the monkey bars there. But, okay. Now for engineering 3 here. So we're going back through engineering, but it's going to be flooded this time, so we got some more water movement. There's kind of a funny thing where there's an underwater dash move, and the way it works is you have to hold down the jump button, but we have jump on scroll, so it's a little jank with trying to do with scroll wheel. You kind of have to free scroll it really fast, and it doesn't usually work for me super well doing that. So I usually either use a controller or I will just switch my controls real quick. So we're gonna go spacebar jump for a little bit here, just for these 2 inputs.
I do remember there was a brief period of time during this, because of that issue, that we were actually hot swapping to controller during this specific part.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we didn't want to rebind our keys.
Yeah, I usually still do that, honestly. I just like turn on my controller, do it here, and then switch back. It's a little silly, but it's fine. But yeah, some people, if they can free scroll fast enough, I see that they just crank that up and it does still work. All right, give that a switch back real quick. All right, so we were talking about this a bit before the run started, or at least with my commentators here. There's a trick in a level coming up called Roy Crawl Skip. I think I was saying that I might only go for it if we're on like a pretty good pace. I think we're doing pretty good.
I would say so.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
Do we think we should go for it at least once?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No promises, but I will. I think we'll try it. I think we're on a good enough pace we could give it a shot. The thing is, it loses like a minute if you miss it, and it doesn't even save a minute. So it feels pretty bad when you miss it, but I think we'll be okay.
I think you got it.
I haven't even hit. I think I've hit it like once in a run. I've never done it in a PB either. So if I hit it here, that would be pretty awesome. All right, so we just got to keep swimming through here. And then doing some more B-hops. There's one more kind of cool skip in this level. In a bit, you're supposed to climb up and have this like forced fall back in the water. And we're gonna try to skip that by avoiding the one rung on the monkey bars that makes you actually fall, because I'm pretty sure it's just those 1 or 2. I don't know if this would count as out of bounds, but we're going to take a tiny little shortcut here by actually swimming up this hole right here. It's supposed to take a little bit of a longer path around usually. Sometimes this thing will bounce us in a weird direction. We'll see what happens. Okay, nice. That's fine. We'll just climb back up. All right, so coming up to the fall skip here in a second. We're gonna jump grab this ledge. All right, so if we try to jump across here, if we try to get all the way to the top, we're gonna fall back down. But if we jump right here and then spin around, we can grab that ledge right there.
Nice.
And then as long as we don't fall here, we're good. Okay, nice,
All right.
nice.
Great job.
Okay, all right, so we got our third heater. We're gonna skip that one as well. Similar thing, we're not gonna crouch this time. But if you just stand in the right spot, there's a certain angle where you can grab the right one. So we want the prompt to say interact instead of unlock. Right.
Hope you saw it for a moment.
I saw it for a second. There we go, nice, okay.
Right.
So we get that. Then we do have to do the crouch trick to actually unlock the door because there is another interact volume on there that just plays some dialogue. Again, of him saying like, you know, I'm cold, I gotta go warm up, basically. We get to see one of our other friends here in a second. As we're running through here, probably could get a donation or two in though.
Fantastic. I've got $25 from sharkhat87 that says, proud of you, brother. Keep up the good work. I've also got $50 from Anonymous that says, Sharkhat, you always have highlight horror block runs, and I love watching them. Thanks for bringing another incredible game to the GDQ stage, less than 3. Putting this towards the bonus DLC levels, and as an update towards that, we are at 3,720 of the 5,000 needed for that. That means we only have $1,280 remaining. Thank you so much, and we're getting closer to that $550,000 raised towards Doctors Without Borders.
I think we can get that
think
by the
so.
end of the run,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe. All right, so obviously, again, playing on story, so he kind of ignores us there, and we're just gonna crawl through some more vents. I'm sure we'll see him again pretty soon, though. I just realized, I actually don't know if this is the case, but it kind of sounded like Kaz was making the sounds like he was still shivering. I wonder if, I never noticed that, but I think he might still be, playing those sounds.
That
We
would
never
make
warmed him up.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
he never got
cannon-
warmed up.
Yeah, the
Wait.
canon of this run is he dies from hypothermia.
I wonder if there's any other effects from that, from like the cold state.
It's possible, actually. It could affect your movement somehow. If it does, I haven't messed with it too much, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh,
We gotta run. I don't know. Do you think he's gonna get us?
He's trying his best.
He could be trying a little harder. All right, little small thing. We're gonna hold back here to hopefully avoid getting a hard land.
Nice.
You can get that hard land glitch we saw earlier, where every time you hit the ground, you kind of face plant, and it actually makes getting through this area a little bit difficult. Zeke, so we just passed by Roy's insulin. We're not gonna pick that up, but
I saw.
if you want to explain maybe what's coming up here.
Yeah, so it's rare sometimes to find a certain type of representation in your games. And for me, I haven't seen a diabetic character in a game ever. Being a diabetic myself, and we get one here with Roy. There was an optional pickup that Sharkhat had a moment ago, which was to pick up insulin to give to Roy because he needs it, because he needs to take his insulin. Unfortunately, he just dies. And how disappointing it felt when you finally have a diabetic character in your game and he doesn't even die to the monster. He dies to the diabetes, which I will add for clarification, that's not how that works. You don't go without your insulin for a couple hours, next thing you know, you're dead. That's not, spoiler alert, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and when he's going to check his pulse, he just like puts his hand up to Roy with his gloves on. He's like, yeah, he's dead.
He's like, he's not.
lost cause.
Yeah,
He's
you
not
would,
gonna make it.
you would still want to try.
Yeah. Well, so there goes Roy. And here comes Roy Crawl Skip. So there's a bridge coming up here. We'll see if this works, but I'm reloading the checkpoint here because the bridge moves as soon as you load in, so it kind of helps make the cycle a bit better. But basically, if you remember, like we said, with shimmies and things like that, if you just don't walk onto them going forward, it doesn't force you into the actual shimmy animation. So if we walk backwards into the shimmy coming up, we can just move across it. Now, unfortunately, at a certain point, the bridge runs out of collision. It looks like it's solid, but it's not. And there's not a lot of stuff you can stand on, but there's a pretty precise jump we can do to land on an invisible platform and then jump to a checkpoint. So I'm gonna go for this once. I don't know what the odds of me getting this are, but we'll try it. If we don't get it, we'll just do it the normal way. But we're gonna wait for this cutscene to play out here, and then I can turn around. And I'm gonna be a little bit careful here, because again, the collision is very deceptive. There's not as much collision as it looks like. Trying to get in the right position here. Okay. All right, let's give it a shot.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I got it! Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. That is nutty.
That's great. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Dude,
insane.
the pace of this run is actually like wild.
Do you think it might be record pace? That's actually kind of crazy.
I don't think so, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Okay, so I'm not used to doing this from that checkpoint because you can actually skip that animation, but that's fine. We got Roy Crawl Skip. That's insane.
I think that, yeah, there's been one death in this run and the remapping, but everything has been hit first try from what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a crazy, crazy run.
Well earned
Yeah,
too, by
yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Like Sharkhat has been in the practice room every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy to do any of this as he's making it look, because the movement with Kaz is very clunky, as you've probably been able to tell.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is learning the coyote timing, because again, a lot of the jumps you have to jump when you're not on the ground anymore, or you're not going to make it. And yeah, the other is kind of adjusting your momentum. If you're running in one direction and you want to immediately jump in the other, you kind of have to. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, you can't just like stop on a dime essentially. But I will say I think it is a fairly accessible run. That being said, if you just don't do things like Roy Crawl Skip, and it's a pretty good time. I will say this is probably the most fun I've had routing and running a new game in a really long time. It was my favorite horror game of last year, and it's been great. And we got an unskippable cutscene here, so this would be a great time for another couple donations before the next level.
Great. I have $25 from Cthulhu that says, could you please get back in bounds? We need to talk about the safety regulations on this rig. We also have $10 from Guy Who Says, whoa, look out, that says, whoa, look out.
No way.
Probably got time for one more.
Great. We have $250 from an anonymous donor. No comment, but thank you so much. Always appreciated, because that is getting us so much closer to that $550,000. We are at $547,907 raised towards Doctors Without Borders. Thank you so much. Let's get it.
Yeah, speaking again to the accessibility of this run, if you're familiar with Sharkhat lore and otherwise Dead Space speedrunning, you may know that in that game, if you don't do a trick, you may be sacrificing many, many minutes of time save. Mm-hmm. In this game, the tricks are everywhere and they're small time saves. Of course, they add up to, I think we calculated it to be almost 10 minutes across the entire run. Mm-hmm. But with that many options, you can, remove a couple of things from your route and make it much easier on yourself and otherwise enjoy an amazing speed game.
Yeah. Oh, really quick. I wanted to say, I know we got the flashing light warning on the stream as well, but this level and the very last level in particular probably have the most flashing lights with these like flashing images and things. So just a fair warning with that. We also just crouched under a quick time event, essentially. Same in the last level, we did it really quick at the end. Some of those tentacles that try to grab you, if you're just crouching, they can't grab you. So we can dodge those. But yeah, I would say that this run's fairly accessible. Like Meta was saying, A lot of them don't save as much time as they might look. Even that Roy crawl skip, I actually don't even remember, but it's probably like 20 or 30 at most. I think the biggest skip on the run is under rig 1 skip at the very beginning, and even that, it's like, I think around a minute or so, which is still a lot, but, you know, worst case, if you just play through the level just to, you know, get through it, it's not the biggest time loss.
If you're someone like me who just wants to run for the sake of it and not going for a world record, it's just, you know, you don't need it. Although under rig 1, I don't think is like too bad.
No, yeah, for anyone wanting to learn the run, you definitely should give it a shot at least. It's very fun. It's one of my favorite skips to do. When it got found, I just was doing it over and over again. It was so, well, also because, Zeke, I'm sure you remember the original route, there were a lot of very hard jumps.
Yes, the old helicopter one was a nightmare to land on those blades, and the very first iterations of Underrig were also just rough. It has evolved a lot and taken out a lot of what was originally thought as toxicity to the run, and now we have these better ways of doing the skips that make them look way healthier.
I will say the helicopter thing that you just alluded to was really cool. I know we didn't see the helicopter in this run, but it's there and it has these blades spinning, and there actually was a trick where you could land on them because they had collision, and it would fling you up in the air if you jumped at the right time, and you could land out of bounds, and then do a lot of other really hard jumps as well to, you know, save like a little bit of time. But fun fact, that is also actually patched on some of the newer versions. So if you did want to do that trick, you'd have to down patch. Which,
and yeah, speaking to that, you can run main game on the current patch of the game as of right now, right?
Yep, yeah, and this patch actually just came out this week. Fixing some crashes and stuff, which was nice. Do you think he's gonna get us?
I think you're good.
I think so too.
If the last time he was anything to go by.
All right, as we're making our way to the final level here, could probably squeeze in another donation or two.
Great. I've got $50 from C. Cyrus that says, love the event. Thank you for all you do. Thanks to all the runners and all of the support staff. Let's go, GDQ.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so entering the final level here, Drill Ops. So I guess we haven't really gone over the story too much in a bit, but it's not looking good, is basically the gist.
I think that's understating it.
Yeah, because, you know, for a bit we're trying to figure out, okay, can we call for help? Can we escape on the lifeboats? None of that's really working out. And we were just trying to fill the pontoons to kind of rebalance the rig because it was starting to tilt and get off balance. We're talking to one of the characters, Brody. He's still in the pontoons, so he gets flooded, so now he's gone, and now it's just us and Finley. And basically this cutscene is her saying, we gotta just blow up this monster. We just gotta get rid of it. There's no way we're getting off here. So speaking of which, this is the last unskippable cutscene of the run, so if we want to fit in a few more last donations here, this would be a great time.
Great. I've got $250 from an anonymous donator. No comment, but thank you so much for your generosity. And did want to give a quick update on the incentive for those bonus DLC Pac-Man levels. We are at $3,740 of the $5,000 raised or needed to be raised towards that. Thank you all so much. You are doing incredibly.
All right, just getting out of this cutscene now. So we got a little bit of slowed movement for a bit, but we can still B-hop to get a little bit of extra speed here. So there's a trick. The last trick of the run here is called Finley Death Warp. If we're really lucky, we might get Deathless Death Warp, which basically just means that we're gonna jump down and hit a checkpoint, and then instead of dying, you don't die. I don't know exactly how it works or like why it works, but there's just seem to be certain parts of the ground that don't kill you here. The weird thing is they do seem to be FPS dependent, and I don't know the exact numbers, but on my machine at home, I don't usually get it. I got it for the first time ever in the practice room earlier. So we'll see what happens, and that's fine, okay? Yeah, we just get an extra load screen, it's fine. But, you know, same thing as earlier, as long as you hit the checkpoint before you die, or before the fade out happens after you die, then we're all good. So, okay, I guess there's 2 little smaller skips here, but that's the last big one we got. So Finley's running over there, and instead of following her the normal way, we can actually kind of just climb up here, sort of out of bounds. But this skips a few triggers, and normally Finley's supposed to get crushed by some debris here, but she's kind of just not there. So we talked to an invisible Finley here and get the lighter. And now we're gonna make our way over to the final bit here. So the last little thing I can go for is, I usually don't get this, so I'll just go for it and see what we get. But you can do a double damage boost off of some of these things on the side. Yeah, again, I usually don't get it, but, you know, we got Roy Crawl skip, so I have to kind of go for this, you know, and see what happens. But otherwise, we just B-hop to the end. So time's coming up in just a minute here. We're going to continue B-hopping, and then we're going to try to just jump into this. If we do get a boost, hopefully we also don't hit a third thing here, because that will kill us. Okay, that's fine. All right, didn't get a super big boost there, but we're just going to B-hop here. So I guess just quick shout-outs while we're getting to the end here. Big shout-outs to the Still Lakes the Deep speedrun community. We got a few, saw a few of them in the donations here, but, you know, shout-outs to, you know, like we said, Demented Salad, Looney, Chris, QQ, Real, you know, just everybody who's run this game or tried to find strats and everything. It's a very, very fun game to run. And of course, shout outs to my whole couch as well. You guys have been great.
Good job, bud.
Thank you. Yeah, this is gonna be a really solid time. So time is, there's gonna be a white screen, and once that fades in to the next like scene, basically, that's gonna be the end of the run. So I'll give a heads up for that. So we're gonna drop the lighter, and this is a really new development. Apparently during this white screen, you can move. So we're gonna jump into this pit and die, and that's gonna trigger the ending faster. So we're gonna let that happen here. And then I'm gonna jump into the pit and die. And time.
Hey, very nice.
All right. Yeah, that was really solid. 101 is really good for RTA, so I have no complaints there. Yeah, that was really good. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been Still Lakes the Deep Any %. I'm Sharkhat. I run a lot of other horror games along with this as well. You guys got anything else you want to say?
Just that I want to say, along with being a good friend of mine, you are one of my favorite streamers to watch, and you should absolutely, if you enjoyed this run, go follow Sharkhat on Twitch. Runs a lot of different stuff, and great content creator. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
The notion. GG's.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And Meta's also going to be here later in the week with Red Alliance on Saturday, and I will also be there, so make sure to check that out. And make sure to check out the rest of Horror Block here and the rest of the marathon. So thanks for watching, everybody, and that's all I got. Thank you.